You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
The countdown is on, my friends. It's going to be an action-packed best weekend all year in 2025, thanks to two very big 5-stars, the Kentucky 3-day event and the Kentucky Invitational. We're talking to the riders hoping to conquer some of the biggest eventing and show jumping tracks in America this month. Thanks for tuning in.
From Heels Down Mag, a podcast where horse pros chat about what's happening in the horse world over drinks. Welcome to Happy Hour.
I'm Justine Griffin.
I'm Jessica Payne.
And I'm Ellie Woznicka. Welcome to episode 135 of Heels Down Happy Hour.
Guys, we're
Hey
here.
guys.
It's April. It's time for Kentucky.
It's Kentucky time.
Finally, the countdown. I'm so excited. And this episode is brought to you by Sinutra Equine. All right, so since we're talking all things Kentucky this episode, I felt like we needed a good Kentucky bourbon drink. Okay, so I found this one that actually is very close to one I had the last time I was in Lexington, and I hope you like it. It feels like something that's going to be right up Jess's alley. So it's called a Velvet and Vice.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
And so what you're going to need is some bourbon, whatever you like, but this recipe calls for Town Branch, Kentucky bourbon. And then you're also going to need some velvet, I'm going to mess this up, falernum? Have you ever had that? Velvet falernum?
No.
I don't know either. Then you're going to want some fresh lime, a little bit of simple syrup. You can kind of pick your poison on that one. Like I would like a raspberry or maybe a blueberry simple syrup. Or blackberry, because then you'll also use some blackberries and some mint from garnish. So basically, it's a pretty easy drink to make. You're going to pour all your ingredients with some ice and strain it into a rock glass and fill it with crushed ice. And then you can garnish with your blackberries and mint. And if you want to get fancy, you can even muddle some blackberries and mint and fill it in there with your crushed ice. And then just for some background, the falernum, which I'd never heard before I looked up this recipe, is also like a liqueur type syrup. It could be non-alcoholic too, but I think you see it in like mostly like fruity Caribbean type drinks, but it's like
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I know what it is.
Yeah. It's something Ellie knows.
That does sound good though.
It does, right? Like you get the nice bourbon, like rich bourbon taste with just a little bit of fruit, you know? It feels like a nice Kentucky drink.
And a good gateway for me into the bourbon realm with still the fruity, you know?
Exactly. You can make it as strong as you want, right? Or fill it with more of your falernum if you don't want it so strong. All right, let's cut right to the chase and get into the news. I figured I'd start with the Kentucky. We'll look at the 5-star and the 4-star entry lists, which are already out at the beginning of the month, which is really exciting. Obviously, there's still time for these things to change. So if you're listening to this episode and it's like just days before Kentucky, we apologize if there are a couple people who might have scratched at this point. But it's really shaping up to be an exciting year. Michael Young, who's won the 5-star plenty of times, is on his way back with Chipmunk of all horses. It feels like the most winningest horse out there right now, especially after the Olympic year last year. Boyd Martin's got all of his classics from Commando 3 to Ferdinand B to that Luke horse that I really like. I don't know. They're all pretty good. I'm really excited to see Monica Spencer back out here. She's got the artist horse who she's had some really super dressage tests with lately. I'm hoping she can kind of pull it all together in Kentucky. She's still one of my favorites, and I just love that artist horse, it being a big old thoroughbred. And then I'm really excited to see Sharon White in the 5-star class. She's with the Claws 63 horse that she's had a lot of success with lately. But I feel like she's always been in the 4-star or lower, so it's exciting to see her stepping up to the big track for Kentucky. But otherwise, you've got a lot of the favorites that are on the list here. Jess, do you have any horses or riders that you're paying attention to in the 5-star?
I'm excited because a lot of Europeans are coming over. So I'm excited to kind of see. And then also in the 4-star, there's a lot of like up and coming. So kind of watching all of them, I think it's going to be an interesting year for us personally because we're just showing in the 5-star show jumping. So I'll actually get to kind of watch and see everything. So I'm really excited about that, to be honest.
I know, it's a nice change of pace for you, huh? But yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of the Europeans coming over, they've got some really good horses. So it will be exciting and it will be a big one.
I know. I'm a little worried about the Brits again. There's quite a few of them. Tom's coming back. Harry's got a few horses. I feel like they come over and win. Gosh darn it.
I know.
Really love to see an American win this year, but we'll see. The 4 stars looking good too. So, well, Coleman's got a few in the 4 star. Let's see. Philip, Mia Farley's coming back in the 4 star. Ariel Grald's got a nice young horse in the 4 star. I don't know. I think it's just going to be a really exciting year of competition.
I think it is. And then in the show jump side, they don't have their list posted yet, but we will probably see some familiar faces that we've seen before. And between Connor Swale, Alex Granato, Alex Matz might come, some of the Blumens might show up. Charlotte Jacobs, who we just had on the podcast, she will probably be there maybe. So she's been in the past. So I'm excited to kind of see who that brings and who is going to be there for the 5 star. Because this year we had Derek on a couple episodes as well, Derek Braun, and he talked about the extra classes. So it'll be interesting to see who they can bring with those extra classes.
Yeah, I think that's great. It's really going to change the spectator experience, right? Like we've seen the Kentucky Invitational grow from being, I think it was a 3 star in the beginning, and like Derek said when we had him on, then it's been a 4 star, but now it being a 5 star.
It's a 5 star.
And a longer competition experience for those who do come. I mean, if you're just a spectator,
we start before the show. We start before the eventers.
I know, right? So it just brings, like, if you've never been to the horse park for Kentucky, like for this event, this is the year to go, because you're going to see amazing show jumping on top of 5 star eventers. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I've never been, but I've always wanted to go. And I don't know why this is what happened to me today, but I was hungry at lunch and I started looking at like things to eat in Kentucky. And let me tell you, the Keeneland like track kitchen, their menu looks so good. I love breakfast food. So I was like, if I ever actually get to go, I am hitting this place up. Like, looks absolutely delicious. But are there any other places, Jess, that you're looking for?
Oh yeah, Jess and I have talked about the restaurants in Georgetown, which is like, it's like a cute little college town right outside the horse park, so you don't have to go all the way into Lexington. That's actually where I stayed when I was in Kentucky for the makeover.
That's right. Yep.
They have this lovely, like, farm-to-table restaurant there called Local Feed. It will blow your mind.
You will see me there. Oh, my gosh.
It's so good.
You will see me there at least once or twice. It's so good.
It is so good. And the track cafeteria at Keeneland is just a really cool experience, Ellie. Like, to be there. A friend of mine from the makeover was like, you have to go for the sunrise workouts and watch the horses out on the track and then go eat at the track kitchen. And so we did that, and it was 100% worth it. One, being at Keeneland, it's such a beautiful racetrack, and then at sunrise, seeing them working out. And then you go into this little cafeteria, and it's like all the walks of life that the thoroughbred racing industry brings together, from owners to trainers to jockeys to spectators who are just there to bet and watch the horses run. Like, literally everyone is sitting next to each other at this cafeteria eating like breakfast burritos. It's really fun.
That's so fun.
Yeah, and there's just so many like great farms to go and like tour and things like that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I've driven through a couple times, but I've never actually gotten to like actually experience it. But it's definitely on my bucket list.
I mean, and obviously the Bourbon Trail too. Like, there's just like, if you wanted to make a weekend out of it and bring like the non-horsey husband or some girlfriends, like you could make a whole trip out of it. And it's
There's
short
lots
drive
to do.
It's like an hour and a half to get to Louisville if you want to see Churchill Downs. Like, it's so cool. We do have a guide that we posted on heelsdownmag.com, like on our best restaurant picks. Like, Alex, my husband's a big barbecue guy, so we hit a lot of barbecue spots through Kentucky. We have a few of those listed there, but also places to drink, places to eat, things you don't want to miss if you're heading to Kentucky for the first time. So we'll be sure to link to that guide in the show notes.
Okay, so you guys have heard me talk about the Sinutra human products. It's actually Lexin, and You can get them on my Amazon. I love them. But the one that I've been telling you guys about is the Livelo Sleep. It is a game changer. We've talked about this before. I love it. I can take one of the gummies if I'm just having a hard time falling asleep or if I wake up with my mind rushing. And I just found out that they have got a bunch of other products between a GI track, one that can help your gut, and all these different ones. So you guys need to check them out because they're on my list to try because they look amazing. So we will link them in the show notes, but they have their own website where you can get the Livelo and get their other products. And it is off of Alexin.com.
All right, guys. So speaking of Alexin and Sinutra, our product review this month is a Sinutra equine product. So last episode, we had Dr. Simpson, the founder of Sinutra, on to talk about what goes into the ingredients that Sinutra equine makes for our horses. Well, the most popular product that I know of Sinutra's products is Sin-Chill, which is a natural calming product that uses plant-based amino acids to help your horse feel focused and not dull or take away that edge for competition and performance. But it helps for safety reasons, but also to kind of take that sort of frantic prey drive that horses have and kind of tone it down a bit so horses can stay focused on their performance job. Well, there are a variety of types of Sin-Chill on the Sinutra Equine website, from Sin-Chill AF, which is their advanced formula, and now Chill has a new product called Sin-Chill Pure. Now, Sin-Chill Pure takes out any possible ingredients that would potentially be banned by the USCF, which we talked at length about with Dr. Simpson in the previous episode. And so this product, the Pure product, is made purely of plant-based amino acids, and it does not include L-theanine. That is the ingredient that can sometimes be suspect from USCF and other governing bodies. So Sin-Chill Pure promotes a sense of confidence in your horse, again, without dulling them, which is what I really like. So yeah, I was just at a rated dressage show over the weekend, and my horse is still like settling into work. So I used it on the first day when we moved into the horse show. Like, I gave it to him before he got on the trailer, just so when he arrived, I was hoping it would help him with those nerves it was his first horse show where he was spending the night on the showgrounds in more than a year. He hadn't, we've gone to different outings recently, but he has not spent the night at a show in almost a year. And I do think it really helped him sort of settle on the showgrounds. And actually, while we were at the show, my trainer, she has a young imported warm blood who's only been off property a couple of times. She was a non-compete horse at the horse show over the weekend, but my trainer schooled her every day and took her out to see the sights. And luckily, I had extra Sin-Chill Pure, so I offered it to Jane, my trainer, and she used it for her horse over the weekend and was really pleasantly surprised with the results. Every day, Hughes is her name. She came out softer, quieter, but still ready to work, still happy to perform, still aware, obviously, of her surroundings, but was very focused, which is amazing when you're considering that she's just a young horse really just starting her career. So 2 thumbs up, I would say, for Sin-Chill Pure, of like needing it in 2 very different scenarios at one horse show, and feeling that product helped both horses and kept them calm and feeling secure, while allowing me and my trainer to both feel like we could ride successfully and safely. And I really can't say enough good things about Sin-Chill. So if you haven't tried it yourself, there are multiple options. You can get Sin-Chill in a pelleted form if you want to feed it daily. You could just top dress it over feed. Sin-Chill also is an ingredient in another product that Sinutra offers called G-Chill, which combines the ingredients of their really awesome gastric supplement, which is called GastroMend, with Sin-Chill, and you could feed that one as a pelleted feed. Or Sin-Chill comes in a variety of tubes, which you administer about an hour or 2 before you want to get on and ride. And that is, the normal formula of Sin-Chill. That's Sin-Chill AF, the advanced formula, and now Sin-Chill Pure. And we will link to Sin-Chill Pure for sure in our show notes. And you could find more information at their website, which is sinutraequine.com.
Thinking about your summer? Make this the year you experience Traverse City horse shows where world-class competition meets the perfect summer escape. With 12 weeks of premier hunter, jumper, and equitation events, including 3 CSR 5-star weeks and a Nations Cup CSI, Traverse City is where top riders compete and win. Outside of the ring, enjoy pristine beaches, fine dining, and endless summer fun. The ideal way to compete and unwind. Reserve your stalls and start planning at traversecityhorseshows.com.
So our guest tonight is a very good friend of mine, Will Coleman. He's an American event rider based in Ocala and Virginia. He has represented the U.S. at 2 Olympic Games and the World Championships. He has several FEI wins under his belt, including an amazing win at Aachen in 2021. Now Will is coming to Kentucky in the end of April and has a busy season for the rest of the year. Welcome, Will.
Hey, Jess. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Thanks for coming on. We enjoy having you. So tell the listeners, you are coming to Kentucky, but this year you're going to do the 4 short. Who are you bringing? You have a big list of them. And why did you choose the 4 short instead of the 5-star this year? What do you have other plans for it?
Well, in the case of, I'm taking 3 horses, and they're sort of the 3 horses at kind of very different stages of their career. The first and probably most experienced horse is Off the Record, who I've done a number of 5-stars with, but he's 16 years old. And the 5-star level has always been, I think, a stretch for him. And I think we sort of feel like we didn't want to put ourselves in a position where we were asking more of him than we thought he could comfortably give. And so we decided to keep him in the 4 short, which is I think a level which I think he will find, very much within his comfort zone and a level that he can, I think, perform really well at. And, after Kentucky, I wouldn't say we would totally take a 5-star off the table at some other later stage of the year, but I think we wanted to kind of see where he is at this kind of final quarter of his career and sort of let him tell us sort of what he might be up for. And I just didn't want to put myself in a position where we were there and we were biting off more than we could chew. Kind of the horse has done so much for us, and we just feel like he deserves to stay in a lane that he's really, really comfortable in.
Yeah, honestly, that's very nice to hear.
Absolutely
planning for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's been just an amazing horse for us, and like I said, he's this is a level I think he still very much enjoys competing, and he enjoys going and doing things at this level. But the 5-star level is like another bag of worms, and I think the 4 short just suits him really well. I think at this stage. So in his case, that's sort of our reasoning. Chin Tonic is coming off a little bit of a break. He had just a very odd, I don't know if I'd even call it an injury, but it was a weird sort of issue with a carpal sheath right before Kentucky last year, actually. And we ended up having to do a little minor surgery, an arthroscopy on that sheath to sort of fully understand what was going on. And it turns out there was really not a whole lot going on. He had a very, very minor check ligament issue up kind of in his forearm that was causing some irritation in his sheath. And anyways, the good doctors at New Bolton Center cleaned it up, and he's came back into this year with no restrictions. But having missed some time last year, and also being a horse that I think isn't maybe genetically designed to do 5-star, we wanted to sort of build himself back up into sort of his absolute peak fitness, and so doing the 4 short just kind of made sense given his timeline. And our goal for him is to probably do Kentucky, and then potentially Aachen, and then probably the Morven Forlong in the fall. So that's kind of how we are looking at his 2025.
Yeah, that'd be so good for him. That'd be great for that horse. He's such a cool horse.
I think playing to his strengths and trying to put ourselves in a position to hopefully be able to compete for a spot on next year's World Championship team. So
yeah,
nice.
And then the third horse is a relatively new mare that we're kind of have only just gotten in kind of the beginning of this year.
Yeah, so she's really new to you.
Very new, and really, I just am taking her to the 4 short for experience. We're not going there to try and be super competitive with her. I just sort of want to take advantage of seeing what she's like in that atmosphere and getting the sense of her. She's just a coming 10-year-old, and we're just for the really most of this year. I think we're going to be just learning each other, and sometimes you have to do that and a little bit more of a kind of real championship environment. And I think Kentucky provides that. So we're going to try to take advantage of it and, hopefully come out of it with a little bit of a stronger partnership.
Nice.
I absolutely love hearing about your attitude. And I know you've done a lot of big things, but I'm curious, what makes you nervous, if anything, when you go into events like this, and how do you deal with it?
Well, I think there's probably a healthy amount of nerves that every top rider has. I think I would say the events where I go in, I probably sometimes worry that, especially the more you do it, you have to fight against being too casual and keeping yourself sharp, and nerves can be really helpful and just making you stay focused and on your
Right.
game. And so I look at the nerves as a good thing. They're sort of telling you that it means something to you, and that, all this hard work that we've been putting in and day out, that you're finally to a place where you get to see, how well you've done and how well you've trained your horse and prepared your horse. And whether it goes good or bad, there's going to be really, really helpful feedback that you can take away from the event. So the nerves just tell me that it means something to me and to the people around me. And, what happens at the event is really just, you're just going to learn from it. So we try to stay, I think, pretty process oriented in that way. And I think I'm at my best when I'm fully focused and riding in that capacity and not, worrying too much about whether or not we win or lose.
I think that's a great perspective.
Yeah. Sports are going to humble you on occasion. And in our sport, I think it happens, a lot. Sometimes not even at the event, just, sometimes things can go wrong in your training or your preparation, and you can have injuries, you can have all sorts of different things that happen that might make it even hard for you to get to the event that you have as your goal. So, I mean, you have to sort of be thankful every time you do get to a big event. And whether you're, super nervous or not, I think it's important to just take a moment and celebrate having gotten there and then enjoy. And Kentucky for us is, I think, a big one for everyone based in America. And I absolutely love going there. I'm sure you won't find an event rider that would say anything bad about Kentucky. It's a wonderful event, and it's a big reason why we all do it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's very special. It's special to just be a spectator there and watch y'all. And I always feel like April is such an interesting time to be in Kentucky. You never know what you're going to get weather-wise. Some years it snows. Some years you guys are clawing it out in the mud. So thinking of that, do you, looking at the draw that will come out as we get closer to the event, do you have where do you want to be? Do you want to be in the middle of the pack? Do you like getting it done early in the day? Do you feel like you want to watch more riders go first, or do you have a preference?
I don't know. I don't have a huge preference. I try to find the silver lining, and I can't control any of that, right?
Sure,
I mean, I'll probably get, having 3 horses going, I'm going to get a taste of all 3.
Yeah.
You get all of it.
Yeah. But that being said, I try not to, I really don't have a preference, because you can end up being in any of those 3 spots, right? In the middle, in the beginning, or at the end. And wherever you are, you have to sort of, the job is still the same, right? You still got to go and try to perform at your best. So, if I go early, I look at it from the standpoint of, okay, I don't get a chance to maybe watch or learn that much from other people going around, but it just makes me focus that much more on what my plan is and how I read the course, or how the people that are advising me or that I consult with, how we decide to plan our, how we're going to attack the course with a particular horse. And you just, you put your faith in that, and you go out there and trust your instincts, and trust your ability to react if it's different. And if you go at the end, you have the benefit of being able to watch. But I usually watch a few. I don't sit there all day and watch how the whole competition is unfolding. I might go and watch a specific combination that I was sort of curious about, or maybe I watch 2 or 3 combinations that I feel like can give me a read of how the course is going to go. But other than that, I just watch what I need to watch, and then I go and read a book or listen to some music, or just, try to turn my mind off and not, sit there and fret about stuff, even if it's going poorly, whether whether the class is riding well or not riding well, I just try to stay in my lane and focus on the control.
Sure.
So, and that's maybe, I think you learn to do that the more you've been doing this game. I'm no spring chicken anymore. So, I've maybe seasoned a little bit in the last few years, but that's how I do it now.
So what about when you're walking the course? I mean, you're obviously assessing combinations, looking at striding, but you're riding three very different types of horses, hoping for probably three different types of rides. Are there certain things you're looking for or you're thinking about when you're out there walking it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think you're always a little bit, using your knowledge of your horse and trying to let that inform you on how your horse might read something or might look at something a little bit differently than, say, one of your other horses. But the routine's all pretty much the same. The first walk, I don't really try to make any concrete plans. I just go out there and get a feel for it. And second walk might still be getting a feel for it, but I start to get a better sense of, okay, maybe what the time's going to be like and, which combinations might be the most influential. But at the highest levels of our sport, any jump can be influential if it's ridden poorly or not executed well. So I really let the whole week kind of inform how I'm going to ride the horse on the day. And there's certain competitions that, I may sort of come to a conclusion on how I'm going to ride something literally minutes before I go out, or I just kind of let it come to me. If I don't try to force it, I usually am not one of these people that goes and gets like a million opinions from everybody at the competition. I just sort of try to let the answer come to me, even if
you're good with sticking with your plan.
Moment.
You stick with your plan. You come up with a plan, and you don't let a lot of outside noise kind of bother you, which is impressive because you can easily get wrapped up in that.
Well,
sure.
I mean, I definitely try to have a plan, and then I also try to be open to adjusting it if something, comes into my, sphere that makes me feel like I should maybe change it, or if I feel like the horses are reading things differently. But
but not the outside noise of everybody else. Like, your horses and you're good at reading them and needing to adjust what needs to be there.
I think I've gotten better at trusting my instincts and sort of being comfortable living with those results.
Yeah.
I think the hardest thing sometimes is when you're, really focused on the end result, it can become harder, or I guess I could say it becomes easier to second guess yourself.
Absolutely.
But when you're sort of comfortable with the outcome and comfortable with kind of the process that gets you there, then, I think you ride, I think, a little freer, and you let your plan come to you a little bit, maybe without as many doubts. So, and I would say that's, something that I work on, that I try to develop, and maybe I'm getting better at as I get older. But
we're getting older.
Yeah.
Some days.
We're getting older, man. It's 48, 30. That's all I can say.
I don't know. Some days, Coleman, I'm pretty sure I'm still 30.
Yeah, maybe you might have good genetics for aging. I don't know.
I don't know. Or maybe it's false hope. But you've had a lot of success at Kentucky. We've been there. My whole family loves you. Like, you're part of it. And so we want to know, though, as listeners, what is your proudest moment that you've had to date?
At Kentucky?
At Kentucky.
That's a great question. I've had some good rides there over the years. I felt like I've had a lot of near misses there with results. But, last year was unique in that, literally the week of the event, we sort of made the decision that Chintonic wasn't going to go. And he's probably my best horse, and was my best horse certainly for Paris last year. And that event last year was probably the most important selection event for the Olympics. And so when we found out that he could not go, or we made the decision that we weren't gonna go, basically for the betterment of his career. And that sort of was kind of rocked us a little bit, because the horse had looked so good. And, we had obviously high hopes, not just for that Kentucky, but for what was going on the later in that year. And for like the whole team around me to sort of be able to, the owners included, Vicky Castrogran, who owns Chintonic, but all of our owners were really devastated to lose that horse for us. And when that happened, and then we had to sort of pivot, and you still had this big event, coming up that week. I think to go there and then to have Diabolo perform the way he did, to have Off the Record perform the way he did, to have the whole team around me
they really stepped up.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And it turned what could have been a really sour week into a really great one, and I was just super proud, not just of my horses, but of all the people associated with those horses. And that goes like down across the board: vets, farriers, my incredible staff, my family, my wife, but and particularly the owners, who really had to deal with a lot last year. And I just can't say enough about the caliber of people that are behind me. And it just made me incredibly proud, not just of the result, but of just kind of what I feel like is just a fantastic team of people and horses. So that one was special because it really highlighted how much and how important it is to have your whole group rowing in the same direction. And I really have that. And I'm very, very lucky for it.
And how much support you really do have, which is always, very, very important.
Yeah, it's critical. I mean, we're nothing without the support. And this is a really, really hard game. And your people, they have to not only understand that, but they have to embrace the challenges of eventing, because as incredible as it is and amazing as it is, it's wrought with just tons of difficulty and disappointment. And, you kind of have to, in a weird way, find or figure out how to still enjoy the ups and downs. And I'm lucky enough that I really only have people in my camp that are like that. And that's just such a blessing. I thank my, lucky stars every day for it.
Yeah,
absolutely. I've honestly really loved listening to you. You sound a lot like some of the sports psychologists that I've clinicked with. So I'm curious, honestly.
Oh God.
How do you keep your head in the game? So you said you like to read or listen to music to kind of get away from the noise. But I'm curious, what do you read or listen to during that time? Like, are you listening to like murder podcasts, or are you like,
no.
Are you proven? Like, what are we listening to?
The murder podcast.
Not a true crime guy, Will.
No, I'm not. Katie kind of is. She listens to some of that, but I don't. I get kind of creeped out by some of that stuff. And no, you know what? I don't have like a.
Are you really not going to mention your favorite band?
You don't have a go-to playlist?
He does.
Right? But I like so much music.
He has one band in particular he listens to all the time.
I do love My Morning Jacket. They're big band for me, but I like a lot of music. I mean, and book wise, I might read anything from, just whatever I happen to be reading. It doesn't have to be sports specific. I've read just a bizarre list of books this year.
What was your favorite book this year you read?
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
So far, it was this book called The Wide, Wide Sea, which is about Captain Cook's final expedition, which he ended up dying. But just, exploring the world in the 17th and 18th centuries, you talk about bravery. These guys, they'd get on these ships, and they never knew when they were coming home. They didn't even really know where they were going in some cases.
Right.
And they're literally just gone for years. They're not always 100% sure where they're going to come across dry land or water, and just the disease and just the hardship that they would endure is just phenomenal. I was blown away by that. Just the thought of getting into this very creaky wooden vessel and just
sounds terrifying
off into the horizon, not really knowing what's out there. It's kind of anyways, it was a really interesting book. And so that was probably one of my favorites. And what am I reading now? I'm rereading this book called A Short History of the World by this Austrian guy. And it's kind of a cool, kind of lends a dose of perspective to, I think, mankind and civilization. It's a good book. I read some sports books. I do read some sports psychology books. Inner Game of Tennis.
Really?
Like
I can't tell at all.
But I read The Economist some. I try to, I'm not the most educated person, but I enjoy learning stuff. So I don't read a lot of like fictional novels, I would say, but I read some golf books. It's not exciting. I'm actually like a pretty boring guy, but
I don't know. It's pretty broad spectrum you've got.
No,
going
yeah,
on.
I would say, yeah.
No, it's. I think it's just something to keep your mind occupied, and hopefully expanding in a healthy way. But it's important, I think, to switch your mind off when you're at a competition and not just be, because you can fatigue your mind, if you focus too much on what you're trying to do. And ideally, you go to the events, you're prepared, you've done the work. You should feel like you're there and you can just sort of enjoy yourself. It shouldn't be, I don't know if I do my best when I'm just putting mad pressure on myself 24 hours a day.
Sure.
So
I get that.
And I've probably gone through that phase. I probably did for a while. But I don't. And I try to take solace in just that, we work really hard, we prepare really hard. I feel like I'm doing everything that I can to be at my best, and I have to sort of just be at peace with that.
Absolutely. Well, Will, we're really excited to watch you in Kentucky, and we appreciate you coming on and chatting with us.
Yeah, no sweat. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Looking forward to Kentucky too.
Yeah.
Jess usually picks out all the restaurants that
I pick out all the restaurants so he can come.
I never have to worry about
he
where
doesn't
I'm going to eat.
We just go and we're on it.
Jess has I don't want to ruin her trick, but she has a fantastic way of getting reservation for more people than she actually says she's getting the reservation for.
It's slightly due to my friends that say, "Oh, I'm not going to make it."
She'll
like,
say, "Can I get a reservation for 3?" Oh, sure. So actually, when she gets there, actually it's 10. Is that okay?
She's lucky. She's very polite, right?
Somehow these
it's
restaurants,
the smile.
Yeah.
They never mind.
These restaurants never get too upset with her. I don't get it.
No.
But
he just joins along. We have a good time.
Anyways, I haven't been as successful with that strategy, but they're like, well, when I say, "Oh, it's going to be 10," they say, "Oh, well, you can go somewhere else."
Uh-oh. You don't have the just magic,
I don't.
Apparently
special
not.
touch.
Apparently not. We'll hit up all our favorite restaurants, and we've already earlier we linked some of my favorite restaurants, so everybody can come join us.
Oh, fantastic. Well, make sure that you give them a later time than you're planning.
We'll still do the early bird special. Don't worry, man.
All right, good.
We got it.
Yeah, it's good for the kids.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon. So we have Alex Granato joining us, and he is a lifelong rider who has competed at his first Grand Prix at just 18 years old. He also competed in multiple Nations Cup for the U.S., as well as represented the USA at the Pan American Games in Lima, Peru. He's based in Lexington, Kentucky and Wellington, Florida, and is now preparing for the Split Rock Kentucky Invitational, which is during the Defender Kentucky 3-day event. Alex is a very, very dear friend of mine, and I can't wait to have him on. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me today.
Thanks. Alex is from Utah, and he's actually based there before he gets ready for Kentucky. Right now, he went out to visit family. So thank you for coming on and talking a little bit about Kentucky this time.
Yeah, this will be fun.
Yeah. So tell our listeners, you have some amazing horses coming up. Your one that you went to Lima, Peru, so everybody knows, was Carl, and Carlton was amazing. But your next group of horses coming up has been super fun to watch for me. But tell everybody who you're bringing to Kentucky and a little more about them.
Yeah, so I've been developing, obviously, a new string coming up behind Carl coming off of his retirement. So my main horse right now, Helios, his show name is Helios van den Nosahove. He came into my life about 2.5 years ago, coming off of Wellington. The family that owns him moved their kids to me to ride with their horses, as well as a few horses that they wanted me to continue with professionally. So he's been one that I've been developing up the FEI levels over the past 2.5 years. And in the last year, he's come on super strong. He's had some amazing results. He's really done a lot more than even I had expected. So he'll be my main horse to focus on the Grand Prix coming up at Split Rock. And then I'm going to bring a not necessarily much younger horse, than an 11-year-old that I've been working with for the last 2 years, but he's quite green as far as his development, but he has come on pretty well this last year. He just finished up really well in Wellington a couple weeks ago. So his name is El Diablo, and he'll be coming as my second string horse.
Nice. So Alex, show jumping as mostly an eventer, show jumping is the most nerve-wracking phase for me. And I can't imagine living in that world constantly because the combinations, the lines, like there's a lot to put together. It could be very technical, especially at the top of the sport, the level that you're riding at. Are there certain combinations or types of lines that make you the most nervous?
To me, I think so much of our sport comes down to being really, I think, horse dependent.
Okay.
For me, depending on what horse I'm on, it all kind of tracks from the training program, the preparation for an individual show, and into the show ring. What might be more difficult for them, where they need more support from me, something that they excel at that I don't have to focus on as hard. So I wouldn't say there's things that I guess maybe necessarily make me more nervous, but definitely that take more focus depending on the horse and what their specific training program would require.
Sure.
So speaking of that, what is your typical warm-up progression, right? I know some people are very strict in the way that they do it, right? Like small vertical, ramp vertical, ox, or big finish vertical, Liverpool. How does that change for you for a larger class?
Again, that all kind of stays consistent with what I said with the last question. It's really horse dependent. The two horses specifically that I'll be jumping at Split Rock, Helios, when he came, he just a bit because of his breeding and I think a bit of his previous training was quite a spooky horse with things around the jumps and on the ground. So with him specifically in his warm up, I don't love to do a ton of jumps, but I like to do fairly wide oxers, really getting him to focus on the width. And I'll always jump a Liverpool on him, not because I worry about him, spooking in the ring, but just I want any bit of an extra high jump or something where he'll maybe slow down and focus on it a little more and look at it. I want that out of the way in the warm up the best we can. And then say my second horse coming, El Diablo, he's so brave. I could point him at fire and never worry. So his warm up is actually quite basic. We'll do no Liverpools, nothing spooky, just, general warm up jumps. We move up as with the height fairly quickly just to get him warmed up and stretched out. And I will finish, even though he's maybe jumping smaller classes than Helios, I may tend to jump him the last few jumps a little bit bigger just to get more of his focus on kind of the height and the rideability right before I walk in the ring.
Okay.
So we're excited to watch you at Kentucky, and really you'll be able to take advantage. The nice thing about the 5-star this year is all the different ranking classes and the fact that, there are more offered. So that's exciting. But looking past Kentucky, what comes next for all your big string? Because you've been in Wellington for the season. You've had a big season. You're going north in a couple weeks to Kentucky. What comes next after Kentucky?
So for me, obviously for the show jumping, we'll just have two of the horses. No other clients. None of my other younger horses will be showing at Split Rock. It'll just be those two horses that we focus on for the week. And then coming off of that, we'll have a week off after Split Rock. And then I'm going to do the 2 weeks of the spring Kentucky shows, which honestly are kind of two of my favorite. Coming off of Florida, being right at home, it's usually weather-wise a great time of year, but they're really nice shows and it lets us get, a bit of change of pace from the hustle and bustle of Wellington. It lets us decompress at home for a little bit and then bring out all the horses for the 2 shows there in the spring. So that'll be our main focus for the entire barn after coming off of Wellington. And then moving on from that, we're looking at in June doing possibly a little bit of the horses in Upperville in Virginia for their big show there during the 4-star, taking a few to Michigan to get the spring started there. And then throughout the summer, I've been developing the group of horses that I have now that are all finally kind of coming up the ranks far enough to be more competitive. So the last couple years, I've basically bounced back and forth between Traverse City, Michigan, and the Kentucky shows, which will be fairly the same for me this year. And then we're looking at, building through the summer for a strong fall with some of the clients, maybe looking at doing the amateur jumpers at indoors. For me, I have a couple young jumpers that we're going to build through the summer for their main focus to be the fall Traverse City show, because they have a great young jumper final there, good money, good competition, and good experience. So that is what our next few months looks like.
That's exciting.
I hope so.
Exciting.
Well, super exciting because
busy.
he gets to see me more often too. So
exactly. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Aw. No, you sound quite busy, Alex. You do such a nice job with managing your business, like your Mad season to your personal pages. So I wanted to ask you a question about social media too. I always love to pick everyone's brain. Do you find the social media, like feeding the beast of that, for a necessary business marketing tool, or do you actually have fun with it? Like, is it a nice way for you to connect with other riders?
I think it's for sure fun to kind of follow, for me personally, to follow, other friends that we don't see all the time, or other riders that I don't even really know, I just know of, and kind of see what their horses or string is developing. As far as marketing, I do think it can be a handy tool. I have to give a lot of credit on our social media to my manager, Sophie Rizzo. She does a ton of it for me.
Sophie does a great job on TikTok too. We should
she's so
link
funny,
her.
isn't
She's
she?
so funny on TikTok. She's so funny. I'm not even a TikTok person. Sophie just sends me the funny ones and they're hysterical.
And then we have a joke. We have running notes in our phones, a shared note for funny TikToks to do around the barn, just because she loves it so much.
She loves it, and she's so cute about it.
I do think it's a great way to engage, maybe get people that don't necessarily know you or your business maybe interested and engaged to ask more.
Okay.
But honestly, for me, what I like to follow personally are results, horses in Europe. And I've actually, Jess knows this, I've found a couple of my horses through Instagram from people I didn't necessarily know. Maybe they were a mutual friend. Okay. We made connection,
he ends up buying
and
them.
then we've bought a few that way.
He's bought them.
That's pretty amazing. That's the power of social media marketing right there. Wow.
Actually, so the second horse I'll be jumping at the Split Rock show is El Diablo. He is one that I had found on Instagram as a 5-year-old, but obviously you can only see so much in a video. It looked quirky and difficult. I talked with the rider a bit and honestly kind of pushed it off to the wayside. Like maybe the timing wasn't right.
It for a while.
It didn't look like it was maybe going to go as far as maybe I thought, as far as it has wound up going. But then actually through another mutual connection who is one of the brokers that found Carlson, my really, horse of a lifetime.
Your heart.
Yeah. His name is Ulrich Clemenson, and he bases in Denmark. And he, probably when El Diablo was turning 7, kind of his mid 7-year-old through to the beginning of his 8-year-old year, just kept hounding and pushing the horse on me. Like, he's like, I think you need to look at this horse. And I explained to him that I had actually seen it quite a bit as a 5 and 6-year-old and had passed on it. And he just it just really stuck with him. He thought it was more special than the videos and then I was giving it credit. So more off of just his recommendation, I did end up moving forward, and with kind of a silent partner, we bought him together as an 8-year-old. And it's definitely been a big project, but he's really turning into a wonderful competitor. He's been a great horse.
Oh, that's awesome. So kind of a Cinderella story found on Instagram.
Well, we're still trying to get a little further to be a Cinderella story,
Okay.
but
The
he has
glass
been
slipper is not
wonderful.
100% there yet.
Yeah, it's a little cracked, but we're trying to mend it.
Okay. All right.
All right. And we've been talking about just how fantastic of an area Kentucky is. So I wanted to ask you, what's your favorite part about living or basing in Kentucky for part of the year?
Oh my God. So I kind of joke all the time. Like, I don't have any family draw to Kentucky. So it was really just horses that brought me there. And the biggest appeal to me is coming out of Florida every year, getting the horses back there, and just seeing the natural decompression that area, the land, the grass gives to the horses is a huge bonus to me. Like, I'm very much in favor of letting the horses be a horse as much as possible. Like, us asking them to show jump and travel around and live in stalls at shows is obviously not natural for them. And so I love to let them be, a normal horse as much as possible. And Kentucky is a great area for that. And for me, I think they do some great shows there throughout the year, but it's also centrally located enough to get to so many other places. Tennessee, Weck, Ohio, New York, Michigan. It's just super convenient. Everything is within a day's shipping drive. And on top of that, for us, we can be downtown Lexington at a great restaurant or a fun spot with friends, and 10, 15 minutes away is a 35-acre farm that I get to live on and have all my animals and enjoy it.
Yeah, it's kind of surreal. You get to enjoy kind of both worlds. He's got a beautiful farm not far from the horse park, but then, yeah, he comes and meets us in town and we do dinner before all the craziness starts with Sophie and the rest of them. And yeah, I mean, Kentucky's a great place for that.
Well, Alex, it's been so awesome having you on. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys so much. This has been great to be on.
And good luck in Kentucky. We can't wait to watch you ride.
Thank you so much. I hope to see you guys there, and I'll definitely know I'll see Jess and Doug there.
So tonight we have another guest who is one of my best friends from, I don't even know how long, probably don't want to admit that, but Mary Bess Davis is coming on. She is a lifelong horsewoman who's competed in vaulting and hunters, but she has a true passion for 3-day eventing. She's headed to Kentucky 5-star this spring after many successful runs at the 4-star level, including Buccolo last fall. She manages her busy sport horse program while raising her kids and teaching students at all levels of the sport. Welcome, Bess.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm
so
excited.
excited you're on.
I know.
So we have to get straight to business about one of my, Bess has had a lot of advanced horses, but my all-time favorite, I have to say, has to be McCall. He is like the cutest little pocket rocket, but his name is Imperial Magic. So you have to tell the listeners about the little horse you're taking to Kentucky this spring.
Well, really, it was kind of a surprise to all of us. You've kind of been there through the whole story and seen it, but he just surprised us from the beginning. I actually had bought him to sell him. I wasn't going to keep him, and he got here and he just kept impressing us from the beginning. Really, honestly, I knew I wasn't going to sell him as soon as I jumped in the first time, but he just kept going. He understood the sport so well. I think dressage is the hardest part for him, but the jumping phases he just understood from the beginning, and he just has been so easy to produce. I've never sat on anything that was as easy as he's been to produce to the upper level. He came along so quickly. I had to be pretty careful about moving him too quickly because he was young, and he just kept getting it and understanding it and came through the levels at a quicker pace than any of my other horses had before. So he is a pet in the barn. I don't think that you could get a bigger pet in the barn, but he's a little bit quirky when you're when he's under saddle. But he's just the best little horse I think I've had, personality wise and talent wise, for sure.
Oh wow, I can't wait to see you guys in Kentucky.
He's a jumping machine. This thing is a freak jumper. I love him.
Yeah,
Bess,
I need a seatbelt.
I love that. Have you run him in Kentucky before, or this is his first time?
This will be his first 5-star. It'll be my first 5-star. So I've had a lot of advanced horses. Well, I've had 4 advanced horses, and I've had several that were qualified, but sadly I've either gotten hurt or they've gotten injured leading up to it. So I've never gotten to compete there. So last year we did get to do the 4-star there. We didn't get to do, we weren't ready for the 5-star yet. So we did get to compete there at the 4-star last year. And it's just such an experience. And I'm really excited about this year being able to finally, hopefully, complete the dream.
Oh my God. I'm so excited for you. So, so knowing that, what are you most confident about and what are you most worried about when we're talking about going into Kentucky?
Well, I was laughing with Jessica. I was like, I think I'm most confident about the jog.
She's confident I'm going to bring her an outfit. That's what
That's
she told
right.
me.
I'm confident I will be dressed for the jog. And he'll look great because my groom's amazing. So there's that. But I think I'd be stupid if I didn't say I'm very confident about the show jumping. You want to be on this horse if you're going to show jump because he is just that amazing. And then sadly, because he's such an amazing show jumper, he struggles a good bit in dressage. He tries. He's such a little workman, but it does not come naturally to him. And he's gotten so much better, and we're doing so much better in that phase. But that would be the biggest, the hardest thing for both of us.
So is that what you're most nervous about? Is the dressage?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, maybe the cross country too. Ask me after dressage,
Different types of nerves, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like cross country. I mean, nobody feels good that morning, no doubt. And I'm not going to be that, I won't be sick before dressage, that's for sure. But so I would say cross country is definitely probably more of a concern, but I do know that he is a natural at that phase. So I've been focusing more on getting the flat work more competitive. So that's been the focus.
Would you prefer to go earlier or later in the order? Like, I know I get nervous if I'm like later to go, but I know everybody's different with that.
I like to have, I think at the 4-star, I didn't really care because we'd done so many that I was very confident in him and knowing our ability. And so at Buccolo, like I was glad that they sent me out first. I didn't mind, and the footing, it was very muddy. So I was really happy. I didn't really have many in front of me, and I didn't mind that. I would say at the 5-star, I want to see I would like to be about, let's see, a little before halfway so I can see a lot, but, not be sitting around all day. So if I had my pick, that would be what I would want.
Okay. No, that makes sense. And how many times will you walk cross country?
Ooh. Probably
how many times is she going to make Doug?
How many times is she going to make Doug walk it? Of course I will. I will. And he'll complain the whole time. So I'll probably more than I've ever walked anything. So I don't know. I bet I will at least go around it 5 times. I mean, I feel pretty sure I will be around it a lot. So I'll be around it as much as time I have. That's for sure.
There you go.
So switching gears, you have to tell everybody, you at home are one of the busiest people because you have to manage your show prep. She's got horses of all ages, levels, students of all that, as well as your fitness because she stays in shape as well. But you also have your 2 kids who I adore dearly, and you have to teach. It's a lot. Tell everybody, how do you manage it day to day?
Well, today was very rough. So let me tell you, let me break
Maybe
down
ask tomorrow.
Let me break down what my life was today. I had 6 boys on spring break, all jumping in the pool while I was trying to train in the arena that is very close and has trees down the berm, but you can barely see them, but you can hear everything they do. So it was a very terrifying day. And I actually called them at one point and was like, if you want your mother to make it back for dinner, you've got to go inside for a little while. So you just have to keep a good sense of humor, I think. And I have to have, I have the best support system anyone could ever ask for. I have my mom that lives right next door. I have my mother-in-law that absolutely, as soon as I leave to go on a trip or to go to a horse show, she pulls in the driveway and she stays here and helps with the kids because my husband works all the time. And then the girls in the barn and the guy that runs the barn, they've all been here for so long that it's just, they make it all possible. Without all of them, like, there's no way I could do any of this well. And I think I do it pretty well because of them. I think everything would be really mediocre and probably not. I don't think I'd feel good about any of it if I didn't have like Natalie Barnes and Courtney Lucas and Felipe Patino, which are in the barn, and then my husband and my mother-in-law and my mom that are so close. Like, I just have the best support system. So that's how you do it, I think.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you do. You have great support with your owners, your staff, everybody. It is all a huge team effort, and it's so fun. Like, they all went to Buchlow to watch Mary Bess and support her, and it's a fun group. But speaking of your family, who is going to come to Kentucky? Are the boys coming actually?
I think everybody, I mean, it's going to be, Kevin's going to have his hands full with these tickets, I tell you, because I mean, I feel like everybody who is here is coming. The boys are coming. My mom's coming. My husband's coming, obviously. I'm pretty sure all of my clients are coming. So it's going to be a big party for them. It won't be a big party for me, but they're really, really excited. So I think basically the whole support crew is coming, and I think my brother's even coming, and he used to event a long time ago. So I think he's
that's
going to
fun.
come. Yeah,
I
that'll
didn't
be
know he
really
was
fun.
coming. Oh, fun!
Yeah, I think so. So he said he was coming so he could help my mom around, and I was like, you just want to come in and watch some eventing because you still love it.
No, he's there for the party too.
Yeah, he'll be great. So yeah, I think everybody around here. So it ought to be a good time.
All right, and I have a fun question for you that curious minds definitely would want to know. What is the first thought you have when you're crossing that finish line on the last day?
Well, thank God, and that was really, really fun. Even though all the way up to it, I always am like, why do I do this? I don't know.
Right.
And the first thought when you cross the finish flag is, this is why I do this, and that was amazing, and it was an unreal experience with your best friend there. So that's really the first.
She's
first
really
thing
referring to me instead of the horse.
Whatever. No. We all know who comes first. Sorry, Jess.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I understand. I'll take second to McCall. He's pretty amazing.
Yeah, he is. He's pretty awesome.
Well, Bess, thanks so much for coming on and chatting with us. We'll absolutely be rooting for you Kentucky weekend.
Oh, thank you. I can't wait to meet you guys. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Introducing the Vertical, the latest innovative saddle pad from EcoGold, a modern monochromatic pad which features breathable memory foam and soft microfiber for lightweight comfort and performance. Sleek and minimalist, it's designed to meet the needs of contemporary riders with style and function. Don't miss out on the 2025 EcoGold Armatech apparel collab. Complete your training or showing look with a matching equestrian shirt, saddle pad, and half pad. Get the details at ecogold.ca, and don't forget about our coupon code. It's all one word, happy hour, and that'll get you 15% off through April 25th. Alrighty, guys, it's that time. Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Do it.
Okay.
So my rose has to be that we're going to Kentucky and that we're excited, and I get to go watch a bunch, and like, I was talking to my mom who's probably coming and her friend might join, but just the fun stuff. So my rose is that I get to experience it and like maybe go to Keeneland with Doug and like maybe do some shopping more. And so I'm really like wanting to experience Kentucky like during the day
be
a little bit.
Tourist a little bit for once.
So like that's my rose, is that like it should be fun. But my thorn is also kind of the same. It's kind of bittersweet that we won't be doing the 5-star, but I don't know. It's a little bit mixed, but I think it's more a rose than I think a thorn. But it is still a little bittersweet that you have to mention, like, this is the first time in years that we haven't been at the 5-star at Kentucky, but at the same time, we are at the 5-star at Kentucky. So I don't know. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for you too to have a little bit of a different experience.
Exactly.
Yeah. And experience it. And like, Bess came on and I'm, super excited. I get just as nervous watching her, like, wanting it to be so good. So I think it will be a different but exciting Kentucky. What about one of you guys?
Go ahead, Ellie.
Well, my rose and thorn are related to the weather. Not like mud or anything. It's just the unfortunate and fortunate side of it starting to get warmer, right? So I'm excited because I guess my rose is that it's time for me to pull my horses and myself out of hibernation. So I've been starting to work out myself, and I've been, starting to get the horses stretched, and they got their chiropractic appointment, which they always get before I ask them to carry my fat butt around. And so I'm excited about that. I'm excited about like slowly getting my butt back in the saddle again. But my thorn is that it's getting warmer, which means I have to do dreaded spring cleaning things, which is unfortunate, which means I have to decobweb my whole barn, which takes forever and I hate it. And I also have to clean sheaths, which was not a big deal when I only had like 3 to do, but now like with 5 to do, it's a lot of sheathing.
That's a lot of sheaths.
Yeah, and I'm like one of those, like, I'm like, once I've rolled up my sleeves and I'm elbow deep, like I'm just gonna bang them all out. So I'm not looking forward to it, but I've got my dorm gel ready.
I was gonna ask, do you sedate? Because it makes it go a lot faster.
So I don't for some of them. So like Berkeley, like he's fine about it. My boarder, he literally sticks it out. He's fine about it. But like Nemo and Batman, like I give him a tiny bit because he's a lightweight. Like you can never give him a full drug of anything because he'll like fall over. But he like just dances around a little bit. He never tries to like kick you or anything. He just gets nervous about it. So I give him a little bit. But Nemo, Matt's horse, is like will kick you and break your leg. Like he does not do well. And Q has gotten this naughty habit of where he's not stupid, unfortunately. So he literally he won't kick you or anything, but he just pushes you into the wall with his butt and he just kind of pins you there. And he's like, you can't do it if you're here. So, and then you'll move him and then he'll move back. Like, so yeah. So dorm gel for those guys. But yeah, so I'm not looking forward to that, but it's got to get done.
Gotta do it. Yeah.
Gotta do it. What about you, Justine?
Well, speaking of sheaths, as someone who also owns geldings, my Alex thinks this is the most hilarious thing to ever exist, that this is a job. But there's a wonderful woman that we should honestly have on the show someday. Her name is Stephanie, and she runs a business called Stud Crud Busters here in Florida.
You've told us
That's
about
amazing.
her.
Yes.
And Alex is always like, stud crud. Like he turns into like a 13-year-old boy, you know what I mean, giggling about it. And I'm like, I don't know, man, it's the best, she's so cheap too. It's like $35. It's like the best $35
I was gonna say best money
ever spent. I pay her to do it like, I don't know, two times a year, and then I maintain it through the year, because she's just like extremely thorough. And Florida is weird, man. Like I've been to farms where like ponies get summer sores there, and then it's a nightmare in the summer. You know what I mean? So like
summer sores are no joke.
Exactly. So she gets all up in there, and I can like, spot clean through the year. It is worth it. That's what I do. But and it's funny because Mikey used to be like a kicker too, but she is so good with them. It's crazy. So he's so much better now, and it's something where like I put the hose up there every day, and now he's gotten way better. But sheath cleaning is not my rose or my thorn, so I'll move along. But my rose is that Mikey and I went to our first rated horse show in many years this last weekend.
Yes, I saw the videos. He looked so cute.
Thank you. He's a very good boy. He exceeded my expectations for where we're at and like him coming back to work. There were definitely tense days and moments, and we know that we're capable of better scores, but we still got some bronze medal scores. We got some regionals qualifying scores. So it's nice to feel like we can be competitive and know that this is a decent baseline to just know that it's going to get better the more we keep working, that we know we're capable of better work. So I'm very proud of him. It was fun. I went with my trainer and Shell, Jess, just a good riding friend who I love. So like it just was a nice weekend with horse women that I love dearly, and we all supported each other in different horse pitfalls and that we're all going through individually, and it was nice to have that support network and feel part of like the horse girl team again. You know what I mean?
That was so fun.
Yeah, it's hard when you're like you feel the FOMO when you're sitting on the sidelines for so long. So it was nice to feel like part of that this weekend. And when I was emotional, they were emotional for me and vice versa. Like it was just nice. We had a great time. So that was definitely my rose. My thorn is that it all of a sudden is a million degrees out. Like it just, I already started Mikey on no sweat supplements, and it's like
here we are.
Beginning of April. It's crazy. It feels like it's been a weird weather year, but that is my thorn, is like mourning the end of the good weather and being prepared to be sweaty all the dang time, because it is that time of year down here. As everyone leaves and packs their trailers to leave Wellington and Ocala, we all just die in the heat and humidity now.
Time for your hibernation.
Yes, exactly. So that absolutely is it. But yeah, all good things.
Alrighty, so our mailbag this week is actually from Caroline. She sent us an email and she wants to know our favorite things to do in Traverse City if going to compete there this summer.
Ooh, I need to know this.
I know. I was just thinking of you, Jess. I was like, you're going to have to go and come back and tell us.
I will definitely do that. But yes, I know you have some kind of ideas for me.
I do. I do have some recommendations from our friends who work for Traverse City Horse Shows, and also the Traverse City Tourism Bureau is a really great resource if you're considering horse showing there over the summer for their spring and summer circuits, or if you just want to go for a weekend. Because there's a lot to do there. And even Alex, who we had on tonight, clearly is spending a good portion of his summer there. It just sounds like a beautiful place to horse show vacation. And not only because the horse park there is so nice, Flint Fields Horse Park has undergone some major renovations in recent years where they have some brand new permanent FEI barns, all GGT footing in the majority of the arenas there. They just run such a really lovely, well-run hunter jumper equitation horse show with plenty of Grand Prix events, some young jumper events like Alex mentioned. That's why they're on his calendar for the summer. So if you want a horse show and really have like a world-class experience, it sounds like Traverse City is the place to go when the weather is lovely in the summer. But there's so many fun things to do. There are lots of really beautiful port towns, not just Traverse City, but all around Lake Michigan, around that area, with really cute hotels. Like I started looking almost on your behalf, Jess. Like if I was going to meet Jess and Doug in Traverse City this summer, this is where I would want to stay.
Oh, there's so many cool resorts and casinos and everything. Oh, yeah. I'm so excited.
So Turtle Creek Casino and Hotel is actually a partner of Traverse City Horse Shows, but it is a casino, but it's a whole resort. So they have all kinds of entertainment options, like they have a lot of nightlife there. But there's a couple of different resorts with spas, like the Grand Traverse Resort and Spa, that is all within easy driving distance of the horse show. But the one that looked great to me was called the Dexter. It's a boutique hotel. It's located in downtown Elk Rapids, which is like walking distance to beaches and restaurants and unique shops. But there are plenty actually in Traverse City as well that you can find, and some vacation rentals if you're looking for like a home, like if you want a kitchen for your stay, yada yada. But of course, what's most important are the happy hours and brunch and food options, and there are lots of really great restaurants. If you like Italian, several people have recommended the Village at Grand Traverse Commons to me as a place that you really have to go. It's sort of interesting, a little spooky in that the Grand Traverse Commons was originally a state hospital. It was a Traverse City like asylum. But yeah, it was run by the state for many years, so it has a really unique history, but it has like unbelievable architecture. The buildings there look beautiful. And so the city has transformed it into this like beautiful shopping and dining and entertainment district where you can kind of walk around this picturesque landscape and all the gardens and explore the old buildings, but have a meal, have a drink. You can shop there. It sounds really cool. There's lots of outdoors things to do in Traverse City in the summer. Obviously, I feel like you got to rent a boat. You got to get on the lake, enjoy the water. You can go fishing, but there's lots of biking, whether you're a mountain biker and want to be out on like natural trails, or there are paved trails where you can kind of explore the various charming towns and bike around. And then there are also just beautiful hiking trails all around the lakes. Sleeping Bear Dunes is something that's been recommended to me by multiple people just because it has like really amazing lookout spots over the water that you can hike with dogs, like bring a picnic. But also there's so many cool things to do for families. Like you can see the lighthouses on the lake. They have a lot of really cool vintage and old movie theaters, like very like marquee historic landmark movie theaters, which, you know, I'm kind of a nerd, but I think that's awesome. I would love to go
that'd
see
be
those.
so fun to like go to like an old-timey movie theater.
Yeah, right?
Absolutely.
And then there's tons and tons of very cool eclectic shops in all these towns, including downtown Traverse City. So lots of fun things to see and to buy, but there's so many of these little cute, charming towns from like Sutton Bay to Glen Arbor to Leland to Northport that are all on the water and are like easy driving distance to go explore for a couple hours. Some of the brunch and happy hour spots that were mentioned to me, there's distilleries and breweries and wineries. So Bonobo Winery is another partner of the horse show, and they overlook these like beautiful rolling hills that you can go walk around and see and try all their wine. It sounds like a really pretty place to spend an afternoon. But then I also heard about this really cool place. I think it's the Red Ginger, where it's like right in Traverse City. It's like a locals favorite that offers like this really delicious Asian cuisine and has known for their craft cocktails. And it's right on the bay. So you get picturesque views right there. So yeah, there's lots to do. So we're actually publishing a Horse Girls Vacation Guide to Traverse City Horse Shows. And we're going to have all of our top recommendations there. And then so we'll publish that on heelsdownmag.com, which you guys can see this month. And then when Jess goes, she's going to try all these things and report back.
Oh, so I will report back, no problem. But will you make sure in the show notes, and then you can text me as well, that like where, I know you're doing a document and stuff, but we're going during the 4th of July. So I know I'm so excited. We're going the first 2 weeks of July. So I know they're really good about like the Commerce Center and stuff, but like, will you include the website of like what the local events? Because I'm sure they're going to have a ton of stuff going on.
Absolutely.
That we can make sure that's easy and we can find it. Because you know, I probably will need that.
For sure. With the kids and stuff. Yeah. You'll want to know what's going on.
Oh, I mean, between the lake, I mean, the kids are so excited. And like a lot of our clients are like so excited. So this destination for us is like horse showing, working, and kind of a little mini vacation all at once, hopefully.
Right. Enjoy your time too.
Like, yeah, exactly.
As a family.
Yeah. So that, you know, you get to show the FEI and we get to like, you know, see friends and everything else. But I'm super excited to go see the towns.
I know. I'm excited for you.
Well, and so I will see you at the Dexter though. You're going to like be there and come with us.
We'll see. This might be the Justin Doug trip I actually crash.
Because that's what I'm hoping for.
But if you have a question for us and you want us to answer it on the air, you can always send us an email. That's Justine@heelsdownmedia.com. Or you should join our Facebook group just for podcast listeners. It's called the Heels Down Happy Hour Podcast Lounge. We're always having really fun conversations there. For example, Ellie just shared a picture of her new office desk chair that was was a big discussion in our last episode. So you can see
it really good.
It does. It looks very comfortable, like it's doing the job. So if you join our Facebook group, you could be part of those discussions. And if you want to hear more from us, you should check out heelsdownmag.com for the latest news. And please follow us online. We're at Heels Down Happy Hour on Instagram and at Heels Down Mag on Facebook and TikTok. And if you love our show, please give us a rate and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And we want to say thank you to all of our sponsors this week: Traverse City Horse Shows, Eco Gold, and Sinutra Equine. All right, guys, that's a wrap. Cheers!